Clara had very little. Her life unfolded in a modest apartment on a quiet street in a city that could have been anywhere. She didn't know names of streets, didn't need landmarks. Her challenges were universal: empty pockets, constant work, and a desire, a yearning, to be seen, to be noticed, to shine. She longed to wear lipstick. Not the luxury kind that adorned glossy advertisements or Instagram influencers. Not the expensive tubes that seemed like symbols of privilege. No, she wanted to feel the transformation that comes when a small ritual reminds you, you are worth noticing. She had no money for it, but she had determination. And sometimes, determination is more valuable than capital. Each morning, Clara rose before dawn. The apartment smelled faintly of damp walls and stale air. The city outside hummed with people rushing to jobs that paid them far less than their work deserved. She worked long shifts in a store that sold goods she could not afford for herself. Each coin she counted, each product she shelved, reminded her of what she lacked. Yet, amidst this scarcity, Clara discovered a quiet rebellion in her heart, the belief that her external circumstances could not define her self-worth. Every mirror she passed reflected fatigue more than hope. Her lips, bare and pale, seemed like a permanent sign of limitation. She watched the women on advertisements glide by, radiant and confident. Their smiles felt effortless, their poise magnetic. She wondered if confidence could ever feel that natural to someone like her. And then she realized, the difference wasn't in money. It was in courage, in action, in the willingness to create where nothing exists. That realization planted a seed. One quiet evening, Clara opened her small kitchen cabinet. There were only a few ingredients she could call her own: cocoa butter, a small bit of beetroot, and some coconut oil. They were humble items, meant for cooking, not glamour. She placed them on the counter and stared at them for a long moment. Then, with slow determination, she began. She melted, mixed, blended, and stirred. The process was clumsy, imperfect. The aroma of cocoa and earth filled the air. She applied the mixture to her lips. It was uneven, streaked, and slightly sticky. Yet, as she looked in the mirror, something shifted. This wasn't just pigment. It was rebellion. It was self-belief. It was the first brushstroke of her own destiny. Clara wore that lipstick everywhere the next day. To work, to the market, even just walking down her street. And for the first time in a long while, she felt noticed. Not because the world had changed, but because she had. The tiny jar of homemade lipstick became her obsession. She experimented tirelessly, adjusting textures, shades, and blends. She kept journals, noting every trial, every minor success, every failure. She sold a few to neighbors. At first, it was casual, almost secretive. Coins returned to her pocket felt heavier than any paycheck. Every small sale was validation, a whisper of encouragement from the universe. Clara learned early that entrepreneurship was not a straight path. Her first batch melted in the sun. Another stained someone's dress. Packaging failed. Orders got delayed. Yet, with every setback, she adapted. She learned branding, studied color theory online, watched tutorials on marketing, and experimented with social media posts, all without spending a fortune. She discovered a crucial lesson early. Consistency and creativity outweigh capital every single time. Soon, she began producing small batches weekly. Each jar carried not only her homemade formula but her vision, her dedication, her hope. She realized that beauty was not just about external appearance. It was a practice of discipline. It was a lesson in patience. It was an exercise in creating value where others saw scarcity. Clara's big moment arrived unexpectedly. She uploaded a short video showing her hands carefully applying her homemade lipstick, captioned simply, "Made with love, not luxury." The response was immediate. Comments, messages, requests for purchase, all arrived within hours. People were drawn to the authenticity, the story, the courage. The world saw not just a lipstick, but a symbol of possibility. Orders multiplied. She invested her small earnings into better packaging, researching formulas, and learning the business side of beauty. She printed her first labels, Clara's Kiss. The business grew faster than she could have imagined. From a small kitchen, she began shipping across her city, then across regions, and eventually internationally. The little jar that once held her dreams now held the confidence of thousands. With each shipment, Clara learned the deeper truths of entrepreneurship. Branding is belief, marketing is storytelling, profit is patience compounded. And she never lost sight of the original spark, that desire to feel worthy, to look confident, and to see doors open where none had existed before. Years passed. Clara's brand became synonymous with empowerment. Her lipstick was more than makeup. It was a statement. It symbolized that even in humble beginnings, one could achieve greatness. She spoke at conferences, taught young entrepreneurs, and inspired thousands with her story. Yet for Clara, the true reward was quieter. It was in the reflection of a confident woman in the mirror. It was in the knowledge that her creation could lift others as she had lifted herself. She had begun with cocoa butter, beetroot, and courage. Now, she owned a global brand, employing artisans, funding scholarships, and mentoring future innovators. Her lipstick had literally launched her dream, but even more than that, it had built a legacy. Success is rarely about luck. It is about seeing opportunity where others see nothing. It is about building with your own hands, heart, and vision. Clara learned that beauty and business are inseparable. Looking good was never vanity. It was an investment in self-respect, confidence, and the ability to influence the world. That tiny tube she had first held, it was courage. It was creativity. It was proof that even the smallest spark can ignite a fire that changes lives. Because at Echoes of Wisdom, beauty isn't vanity, it's value. Beauty is everything. Kindly follow for more stories, like and share.